The Simpsons has been creating continuity nightmares for over 35 years and more than 750 episodes. From characters who vanish without explanation to timeline contradictions that break the entire series, these mysteries have haunted fans since 1989. Some make zero sense, some were never addressed by the writers, and some literally can't exist within the show's own logic. Today, I'm breaking down every major Simpsons mystery that's never been explained, starting with a dog that shouldn't exist. Santa's little helper exists in episodes that take place before the Simpsons adopted him. The family adopted Santa's little helper in the very first episode, except the dog appears in flashback episodes set years before that adoption ever happened. Here's where it gets weird. In Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, the pilot episode from 1989, the family has zero money for Christmas presents. They end up at the dog track on Christmas Eve. A greyhound named Santa's little helper loses the race, gets abandoned by his owner, and Homer adopts him. That's the official origin story. Principal Skinner explicitly tells us Bart is in 4th grade and Lisa is in 2nd grade during the Christmas pageant. The entire emotional weight of the episode revolves around this being their first time meeting this dog. But then season 5's Homer's Barbershop Quartet aired. The episode features an extended flashback to 1985, 8 years before the episode's present day. Homer's in a barbershop quartet that becomes nationally famous. And in the background of multiple scenes, there's a dog in the Simpsons backyard, a dog that looks exactly like Santa's little helper. Same breed, same coloring, same everything. Digging in the yard just like Santa's little helper does in later episodes. The family adopted Santa's little helper at Christmas 1989 in the pilot. This flashback takes place in 1985, 4 years before they adopted him. The writers either forgot their own pilot episode or the Simpsons owned an identical greyhound years earlier and never mentioned it, not once. In 35 seasons, fans have documented this. Online forums spent years debating whether it's the same dog or just lazy animation. The Simpsons wiki notes the contradiction, but offers no explanation. Some fans theorize the floating timeline just makes flashback dates unreliable. Others argue the writers simply didn't care about continuity in season 5 because nobody expected the show to run this long. The evidence is undeniable. Santa's little helper appears before he was adopted. Makes zero sense. The show never addressed it, never explained it, and this is just one dog in one flashback. But if you think a dog existing before he was adopted is confusing, wait until you hear about the 5 contradictory Christmas episodes where Santa's little helper both exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. The Simpsons have celebrated at least 5 different Christmases where Bart and Lisa are in the exact same grades. The show has multiple Christmas episodes. They all take place when Bart is in 4th grade and Lisa is in 2nd grade. They all contradict each other completely. Start with Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. Principal Skinner explicitly states Bart is in 4th grade and Lisa is in 2nd grade during the Christmas pageant. The family has no money for presents. They adopt Santa's little helper on Christmas Eve. That's the baseline. Everyone agrees this is the first Christmas. Then comes season 7's Marge Be Not Proud. The episode takes place a few days before Christmas. Santa's little helper is living with the family, which means this Christmas happens after the pilot. Bart and Lisa's exact grades are never mentioned, so technically this could be a different school year. The timeline is wobbly but still standing. Season 10's Miracle on Evergreen Terrace destroys any hope of linear continuity. It's Christmas again. Santa's little helper is there, and Lisa is explicitly shown sitting in Miss Hoover's 2nd grade classroom, the same grade she was in during the pilot. Bart accidentally burns down the Christmas tree and all the presents, so then lies about a burglar stealing everything. The town donates money to the family. The whole plot depends on them being in the same financial situation as the pilot. Then season 11's Grift of the Magi makes it impossible. Bart and Lisa are once again explicitly in 4th and 2nd grade. It's Christmas, but now Skinner is fired and a corporation runs Springfield Elementary. They're doing secret focus testing on the kids. Homer steals Funzo dolls from under a tree instead of going to a dog track. And here's the kicker. Santa's little helper doesn't appear in this episode at all. The dog vanishes. Compare the pilot to Grift of the Magi directly. In one Christmas, Skinner hosts a pageant. In the other, he's fired. In one, they're at a dog track on Christmas Eve. In the other, they're stealing toys. In one, they adopt Santa's little helper. In the other, he doesn't exist. Both episodes lock Bart and Lisa in the exact same grades. Both are supposed to be the same Christmas. Makes no sense whatsoever. The Simpsons have celebrated at least 5 Christmases across 35 seasons. Some have the dog, some don't. Some explicitly place the kids in the same grades as the pilot. The writers never explained which Christmas actually happened, but Christmas isn't the only holiday The Simpsons repeat with contradictory details. Wait until you see what happens when Bart finishes 4th grade 3 separate times in 8 seasons. Bart graduated 4th grade 3 separate times in 8 seasons with 3 completely different storylines. Finishing 4th grade should be a once-in-a-lifetime event. Bart did it 3 times, with 3 contradictory stories that the show expects you to accept simultaneously. The first time happens in Season 2's Bart Gets an F. This is the dramatic version. Bart fails a major exam on colonial America. Mrs. Crabapple threatens to hold him back. A district psychiatrist meets with the family and recommends Bart repeat 4th grade. Bart panics about his future and begs Martin for help studying. The whole episode revolves around whether Bart will pass or fail. He studies desperately, prays for a snow day to get more study time, and actually gets it. He sacrifices the entire snow day to cram for his final exam. When he takes the test, he gets a 59. Another F. Bart breaks down crying in front of the entire class. Mrs. Crabapple sees his essay answer about how the founding fathers would appreciate a snow day and decides to pass him with a D- because he genuinely tried. Bart celebrates finishing 4th grade. Emotional moment. Everyone remembers this episode. The second time happens in Season 4's Camp Krusty. This version has 0 drama about passing or failing. Bart gets his report card and it's straight D-. Not good enough to go to Camp Krusty according to his deal with Homer, but failing is never a concern. There's no tearful plea to Mrs. Crabapple, no district psychiatrist, no fear of being held back. He just finished 4th grade like it's routine. Then he goes to camp and kisses Mrs. Crabapple. Completely different tone from Bart Gets an F. The third time happens in Season 7's Summer of 4 Fs. 2. Bart finishes 4th grade once again, but instead of going to Camp Krusty after finishing, the family immediately heads out on vacation to Lake Spuckler. Milhouse is there with them. No camp, no kiss. Different summer plans entirely. Same grade completion, totally different story. 3 episodes about Bart finishing the same grade. None of them can coexist. In one version, he barely passes after an emotional breakdown. In another, he coasts through with D-. In the third, he goes on vacation instead of camp. The project knowledge notes this creates a psychological paradox in Bart's mind. If you asked Bart about finishing 4th grade, he'd remember all 3 versions. The teacher, kiss, the camping trip, the family vacation. He'd remember crying in class and also not caring about his grades, all at the same time. Fans debated whether these are retcons. Is Camp Krusty replacing Bart Gets an F? Is Summer of 4F2 replacing both? The episodes aren't referenced much in later seasons, so maybe older episodes just fade away from continuity. But if that's true, where does that leave the emotional weight of Bart Gets an F? Does that episode not matter anymore? The writers told 3 versions of the same life event, expected viewers to accept all 3 as canon, never explained which one actually happened, but repeating plot points is just the beginning of the Simpsons continuity nightmare. Wait until you see what happens when major characters die and then appear alive in later episodes with no explanation. Maud Flanders died in Season 11, but appears alive in episodes that take place after her death. Maud Flanders got knocked off a grandstand by a t-shirt cannon in Season 11. The show made a huge deal about her death, except she keeps appearing in later episodes where she's clearly alive. Here's where it gets dark. In Season 11's Alone Again, Natra Diddley, the family attends a race at the Springfield Speedway. T-shirts are being shot into the crowd with a cannon. Homer stands up to catch one. Maud leans over to tell him to sit down. The t-shirt cannon fires with too much gunpowder. The shirt hits Maud directly in the chest and knocks her over the railing. She falls to her death. The entire episode revolves around Ned, grieving and trying to move on. Reverend Lovejoy gives a eulogy, characterizing her as an unremarkable supporting player. Ned goes through multiple episodes dealing with his loss. The show treats this as permanent, but Maud appears in later episodes where the timeline doesn't add up. The project knowledge specifically notes that she appears in Homer the Heretic, a winter episode, and Bart of Darkness, a summer episode. If you're trying to construct any kind of linear timeline where Maud died in Season 11, you have to fit all of her appearances into the time before her death. That creates a massive problem when she's showing up in both winter and summer episodes that clearly take place in the present day of the show. The writers never explained how this works. Is Homer the Heretic set before her death? How do you know? Nothing in the episode indicates when it takes place. Same with Bart of Darkness. The show expects viewers to just accept that Maud is both dead and alive depending on which episode you're watching. Fans have debated this for years. Some argue these episodes take place in the past. Others say the floating timeline makes death meaningless. The Simpsons wiki documents the contradiction, but offers no official explanation. But Maud isn't the only character with this problem. Dr. Marvin Monroe was killed off-screen and confirmed dead in Season 7's Clip Show episode. The show made jokes about Marvin Monroe Memorial Hospital. Harry Shearer found the voice too difficult, so they retired him and killed him off. Then in Season 15, he's just alive again. No explanation. He appears at a town meeting like nothing happened. Then in later Treehouse of Horror episodes, he's a ghost again. The show flip-flopped on whether his death actually counted. Dr. Nick got killed in the Simpsons movie when the dome came down on Springfield. He's crushed trying to help people evacuate, clear on-screen death. Then he appears in episodes after the movie like nothing happened. The writers decided the movie doesn't doesn't count for continuity purposes. Just like that, death gets reversed. Snowball 2, the family cat, died in season 15's I, Dobot. Lisa is genuinely devastated. The entire B-plot shows her going through multiple cats trying to replace Snowball 2. Then they get Snowball 5 and just pretend it's the original cat. They even rename her Snowball 2. From the series' point of view, the cat never died. Status quo restored. The pattern is undeniable. The Simpsons kills off characters for emotional storylines or voice actor issues, then brings them back or pretends they're alive in episodes that should take place after their deaths. Nobody addresses it. Nobody explains it. The timeline just bends around whatever the current episode needs. But character deaths are just scratching the surface of Springfield's impossible timeline. Wait until you see how Homer and Marge's backstory changes every single time the show does a flashback episode. Homer and Marge's backstory changes every time the show does a flashback episode. Homer and Marge met at their high school prom in 1974, except they also met in college in the 1990s, and they conceived Bart immediately after high school, and also 10 years later. The show expects you to accept all versions as true. Here's where it gets complicated. Season 2's The Way We Was established the definitive origin story. Homer and Marge attend Springfield High School together. They go to prom in 1974. Homer asks Marge out. They start dating. After graduation, they conceive Bart at a miniature golf course. They get married shortly afterward. The entire emotional foundation of their relationship rests on this timeline. Fans remember this episode as canon. Then, season 19's That 90s Show completely rewrites everything. In this version, Homer and Marge graduate high school in the late 1980s. Then Marge goes to Springfield University in the 1990s while Homer pursues a music career with his grunge band. They live together in an apartment. They break up. Homer gets depressed. They eventually reconcile years later and have Bart in 1998. Completely different story, different decade, different life paths. But here's the kicker. The prom never moves. The Way We Was, set it in 1974. Season 13's Half Decent Proposal aired in 2002 and shows their prom deliberately styled after the 1970s. Season 20's Take My Life Please aired in 2009 and once again portrays Homer in high school in 1977 with Star Wars and Jaws references. 3 episodes from 1991, 2002, and 2009 all lock Homer and Marge's high school years in the 1970s. But That 90s Show puts them in high school in the late 1980s and doesn't have Bart until 1998. The math breaks the entire timeline. If Homer went to high school in 1977, like Take My Life Please shows, and didn't have Bart until 1998, like That 90s Show shows, Homer would be approximately 50 years old when Bart was born. He's supposed to be in his late 30s. The floating timeline moved everything forward except the one event that should move. Their prom stays fixed in the 1970s while the rest of their lives float into different decades. The Project Knowledge documents this paradox explicitly. Well, Homer and Marge's prom is the nexus point between their origin story and the present day. Everything before the prom is vaguely retro. Everything after floats with the timeline, except the show violated its own rule by portraying them in the 1990s while keeping references to their 1970s high school years. Other flashback episodes add more contradictions. Season 4's I Married Marge shows Homer working at a mini golf course when Marge gets pregnant. Season 5's And Maggie Makes 3 shows Homer at the power plant when Maggie is conceived. Season 7's Mother Simpson places Mona's disappearance in 1969 based on Joe Namath's sideburns. Season 11's Behind the Laughter shows the family in the early 1980s. None of these timelines align with each other. Fans debated whether That 90s Show retconned earlier episodes. The Simpsons wiki notes the contradiction but offers no explanation. Some fans theorize multiple alternate timelines exist. Others argue the floating timeline makes dates meaningless. The show never addressed it, never explained how Homer can remember both graduating in 1974 and dating Marge in 1995. The writers just kept making flashback episodes with contradictory dates. Homer and Marge's backstory changes based on which episode you watch. Their relationship has multiple incompatible origin stories, all supposedly canon. But timeline contradictions aren't limited to flashback episodes. Wait until you see how the show's present day makes it impossible for any of these events to have happened in the first place. Bart has been 10 years old for 35 years, but somehow remembers living through multiple decades of events. Bart is perpetually 10 years old in 4th grade. He's been 10 years old since 1989, but he remembers living through the Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump presidencies. 35 years of memories crammed into a body that never ages. Here's where logic goes to die. The Simpsons uses what's called comic book time. Characters can experience new events and form new memories without physically aging. The show isn't completely frozen like Groundhog Day. Status quo changes do happen. Lisa becomes a vegetarian. Skinner and Edna start dating. Maude dies. These events stick. But the characters don't age. They just keep accumulating memories while staying the same physical age forever. The Project Knowledge explains this creates massive psychological problems for Bart and Lisa specifically. Adults can stay at their jobs forever without anyone noticing the time loop. Homer works at the power plant. Marge stays home. Nothing changes visibly, but kids are locked into specific grade levels. Bart is always in 4th grade. Lisa is always in 2nd grade. Every summer ends, and they return to the beginning of the same school year, again and again. For 35 seasons, Bart can remember finishing 4th grade at least 3 times in 8 seasons. He remembers kissing Mrs. Crabapple at the end of the year. He remembers going to Camp Krusty. He remembers the family vacation to Lake Spuckler. All 3 happened when he finished 4th grade. But the next season, he's back in 4th grade again, starting over, with Mrs. Crabapple teaching him like he never learned anything. The show never explains how this works. Sparks. The decision to restart grades is based purely on their physical age. Bart is 10 years old. 10-year-olds go to 4th grade. It doesn't matter that he's already completed 4th grade multiple times. It doesn't matter that he remembers finishing it. His past experiences don't count. He's physically 10, so he starts 4th grade again. Lisa has the same problem. She's perpetually 8 years old in 2nd grade with Miss Hoover. She remembers multiple school years, multiple Christmases, multiple summers, but every September, she's back in Miss Hoover's class. Same desk, same teacher, same grade level. The show expects us to believe she's been 8 years old since 1989, but has memories spanning decades. Comic book time gets messy when you lock characters into specific ages and grades. The Project Knowledge notes this explicitly. Living through 10 different Christmases is one thing when everyone is an ageless wonder. It gets weird when you start locking them into specific school years. The level of doublethink required from the characters becomes uncomfortable. Bart would need to simultaneously remember finishing 4th grade 3 times while believing he's never left 4th grade. The show has portrayed events across 35 years of real-world time. Technology updates. Presidents change. Cultural references shift. The characters watch the Super Bowl, reference current movies, and use smartphones. They clearly live in the present day. But Bart has been 10 years old the entire time, never turned 11, never will turn 11. He's stuck in an eternal loop of 4th grade until he somehow learns how to age. Fans have debated this for decades. Some argue it's just cartoon logic and shouldn't be analyzed. Others point out that the show itself references the paradox. In one episode, Bart literally says he's been in 4th grade longer than anyone. The writers know it makes no sense. They just don't care. The Simpsons exists in a flexible reality where time floats, gets frozen, loops, or splits into multiverses, depending on what the current episode needs. The timeline alternates between being completely irrelevant and so important that every episode needs specific callbacks. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's all over the place. But the school loop paradox is just the beginning. Wait until you see how the show handles episodes set in the future that contradict each other and the present simultaneously. The Simpsons has done 6 different future episodes that all contradict each other and the present day simultaneously. The show has multiple episodes set in the future. They all show different versions of what happens to the family. None of them can exist together. The writers expect you to accept all of them as equally valid. Here's where it gets dark. Season 6's Lisa's Wedding shows Lisa's future. In 2010, a fortune teller at a Renaissance fair predicts Lisa will meet a British student named Hugh Parkfield at university. They fall in love. He proposes. Lisa brings him to Springfield to meet the family. Homer embarrasses her. Hugh gives Lisa an ultimatum. Move to England and never see her family again or call off the wedding. Lisa calls it off. Hugh returns to England. Lisa never sees him again. The fortune teller specializes in predicting relationships that end badly. The episode treats this as Lisa's actual future. Then season 11's Bart to the Future shows a completely different future in 2030. Lisa is president of the United States, the first straight female president. No mention of Hugh, no mention of ever being engaged. She's single. Milhouse is her chief of staff, still in love with her. Bart is a 40-year-old deadbeat living with Ralph Wiggum in a band called the Tequila Mockingbirds. The country is broke. Lisa's dealing with a massive debt crisis. This future directly contradicts Lisa's wedding. If Hugh was Lisa's first true love in 2010, where did he go by 2030? The show never explains. Season 16's future drama adds another contradiction. Professor Frink's astrology machine shows Bart and Lisa's future 8 years ahead. Lisa is dating Milhouse. They're heading to prom. Bart is with a girl named Jenda. Homer and Marge have split up. Marge is dating Krusty the Clown. Bart saves Mr. Burns and gets a scholarship to Yale, the same scholarship that was supposed to go to Lisa. Lisa ends up settling for Milhouse and going to hot dog management camp. But in Bart to the Future, Lisa became president. How did she become president if she went to hot dog management camp instead of college? Different timelines, both supposedly canon. Season 23's Holidays of Future Past shows yet another future. Bart has 2 sons. Lisa is married to Milhouse with a teenage daughter named Zia. Maggie is pregnant and in a rock band. The family gathers for Christmas. Homer is building spaceships in bottles after getting sober. Grandpa is in a cryogenic tube. This future can't coexist with Bart to the Future, where Lisa is single, or future drama where specific events happen happen differently. Then, season 25's Days of Future breaks reality completely. This episode takes place after Holidays of Future Past. Homer dies. But it's fine because Professor Frink cloned him. Homer dies over and over again, getting cloned repeatedly until he's finally living in a computer in Bart's apartment. Then he gets a robot body. Milhouse becomes a zombie. Lisa is into zombie Milhouse. This episode is so bizarre that even the Simpsons wiki doesn't consider it canon. But here's the kicker. Some of these future episodes feature characters who died in the present day. Maude Flanders appears in Future Drama, even though she died in season 11. Edna Krabappel appears in Future Drama, even though her voice actress passed away and the character was retired. The show brings dead characters back for future episodes without explanation. The Project Knowledge asks the critical question, are these episodes even reliable? Lisa's wedding is a fortune teller's prediction. Maybe she's making it up. Bart to the Future is a vision from a casino owner using mysticism. Maybe it's fake. Future Drama is Professor Frink's astrology machine. How accurate is that? The only episode that's a straight up flash forward is Holidays of Future Past. And even that isn't considered canon by the Simpsons wiki. Fans have debated which futures are real for decades. Some argue all of them count. Some say none of them count. Some pick and choose. The writers never confirmed which version is correct. They just kept making future episodes that contradict previous ones. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every Simpsons character death explained, click the video on screen now.